Yes, it is the second edition of the program for the week, the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions where we take a critical look at issues as it affect our dear nation, Nigeria. It is still part of our morning show. We call our morning show right here, Morning Spice, on the floor of God's own state. And this is the discussion segment where critical decisions are taken. And of course, we do the analysis of those decisions for you to make better plans ahead. My name is Michael Oni, and this morning we're doing a review of the Aba North and South Federal Constituency election that took place over the weekend. One of the beauties of the off-season elections in Nigeria is that they parade pitfalls in our electoral laws, which must be fixed for a better general election. And unfortunately, most Nigerians are no more concerned if the off-cycle is not for a gubernatorial seat. We saw what happened at the Aba North and South Federal Constituency. Of course, we will be doing a review of that this morning. I have joining me Dr. Joseph Ilo, the resident electoral commissioner, Abia State. And of course, I will be joined by other stakeholders as far as this election is concerned later on the program. Dr. Joseph, good morning to you. Glad to have you join us this morning on the program.
Thank you, Mike.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much. Yes, that poll in Abia State over the weekend, of course, which you oversaw, through some issues that must not be glossed over. The issue of voter apathy, very unfortunately, less than 20,000 persons participated in that election, and we respected as much as over 490,000 naira. What is the immediate reaction of the electoral umpire on that particular voter apathy that took place over the weekend?
Thank you, Mike. It's not 490,000 naira, Mike.
490,000 persons. Sorry, I'm so used to money that. All right.
Okay, good morning, Mike. Please, I thank God that the election has come and gone. And what we're now looking at is an analysis of what happened and how to improve on the voting process. But like you said, a cardinal issue that cannot be swept under the carpet is voter apathy. Okay? Well, so many factors contributed to this.
Okay.
Yes, a number of factors anyway.
So what are those factors that you've been able to highlight through your preliminary analysis on the outcome of the election?
Well, first and foremost is that, the law provides a period of time within which election must be conducted if the officials of the National Assembly announces the passing on to eternal glory of any member. So it has to be done, beyond which it's about just maximum of 90 days. If it is not done, then the constituency may not have a representative till 2023. Okay, that's one. So we fixed the election to beat the time. Firstly, I will say that on the issue of apathy, we observed that a number of friends and relations of the deceased are so much unhappy that their deceased family member, their father, their mother, and have not been buried, and we are conducting an election. You are an Igbo man, you know the culture. We bury before any other thing, bury our dead before we complain. So that's one factor. Secondly, the parties also have a role to play here. There were very large number of party representatives who have valid voting cards, and they did not vote, I am sure. So a large number of those party reps, parading about, prefer to go and work as party reps instead of going to vote, because they consider that the parties will give them some crispy notes thereafter. That's one thing the political parties, will have to take a critical look at. Before they appoint, let the reps go and vote before. Or if they are established in a particular voting polling unit, they should turn back immediately to go to their respective polling units and vote. Or they are most likely, it's better to post them where they will vote. I think that will help to reduce the voter apathy. Secondly, our brothers and sisters, prefer economic power than political power. Honestly speaking, that's a very dangerous one.
So these are some of the preliminary analysis you've done concerning the outcome of the election. Now it brings to question, Rec, how much sensitization did you do to help sensitize the good people of Aba North and South Federal Constituency just before that election?
So a lot of it. We were on the radio, television, all media, even on road walks in the city of Aba, Aba North and Aba South. But you know that most of the residents there are traders. They are more interested in their economic business, in their businesses. As you'll be talking to a group of persons about voting, they'll be talking about the number of customers that will come to their stores and make purchases, or number of transactions they will be engaged, that will be thrown up for the day. This is, like I say, our people ought to know that political power is superior to economic power. It's very, very imperative to have it. And you guys who are in the media should please help us to dispense this information. Whenever election is talked about, everyone should participate effectively. There is also this impression that many of the persons who registered in Aba did not come to vote. I really don't know. There are parties there we need to stimulate and discover.
Okay. Beyond the low turnout recorded on Saturday, will you say that the conduct was very successful from your part as the electoral umpire?
It's not only from my part, from neutral observers, from local and international observers. They accede to the fact that the voting was peaceful, the collation process was peaceful, the result was peacefully declared. As a matter of fact, the insinuation prior to that election that there will be rioting, there will be dangerous, people will be killed, no, those things did not manifest, because we had to reach out to the contestants and they signed for us on paper peace accord. We did that in Aba. Not only that, we met with the critical stakeholders to get them know that we as INEC must remain neutral, unbiased. That's our primary job. And in the discharge of our duty, we were not favored. No party was favored.
Okay.
I had a very good control. And I am sure that unbiased, yourself too, and your reporters will report that this is the situation on ground.
All right. But after the declaration of the winner, just before I let you go this morning, some parties are saying that, well, there was thuggery, and of course the issue of the substance that went off, the explosion at Tumola, it also contributed to the low turnout, and of course thuggery and also some other malpractices. I don't know if you recorded that also in your document.
Issue of thuggery, really, you know that in Nigeria, if you conduct an election, there must be one or two skirmishes. But overwhelmingly, the environment was peaceful. I was moving alone. I was moving alone unguarded without policemen. I was moving from one polling unit to another polling unit, from one polling unit to another, and I was taking close records of what was obtainable in those areas. I think it was peaceful. I did not witness any. If it manifested and it was not reported to me directly that these problems were there, okay, that this problem of thuggery existed here and there. Even the alleged explosion of a grenade, I think immediately I got that information, I informed the CP and then the military operation, the security operatives, and they rushed in there. And INEC is not on top of security. Our partners, the critical stakeholders in the security sector, are in charge. I think that's just what obtained. We did not record very bad election. I scored this election 80% success. Even in the collation center, it was peaceful. Both parties, the opposition and all the contesting parties were there, chatting and then, making jokes about them on the issues.
All right. Dr. Joseph Ilo, we want to really appreciate you this morning for speaking to us on the platform, the Resident Electoral Commissioner, Abia State. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear.
We do appreciate. Thank you. Well, that's Dr. Joseph Ilo, of course, rating the conduct of that election 80%. Well, let's continue the conversation this morning. I have joining me the Commissioner for Information in Abia State. He speaks for the state government. Let's get the state government's angle. And of course, he's a member of the PDP, and I'm sure he wants to speak on the outcome of the election. His party, of course, definitely from the result declared by INEC, won the election. So we take a short break now. When we return, we take Chief John Okiyikalu, the Commissioner for Information in Abia State. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM.
At Flow 94.9 FM, we've got conducive and well-secured environment for business, high-tech video studio, a state-of-the-art production studio. You can also listen live on www.flow949fm.com and watch our videos on YouTube at Flow FM TV. Flow 94.9 FM, not just radio, but a complete broadcasting house.
Thank you very much for joining us. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. And we are doing a review of the Aba North and South Federal Constituency elections that took place over the weekend. And of course, we're still looking at the outcome of the election, how we can improve using that election on subsequent elections in the country. Now we have joining us the Honorable Commissioner for Information in Abia State, Chief John Okiyikalu. Glad to have you join us this morning on the platform on Flow 94.9 FM.
Thank you for having me, Michael. Good morning, wonderful people of Abia State.
And condolences, we share condolences with you and the state government on the loss of the Deputy Chief of Staff.
Thank you very much. A sad and unfortunate situation, and we pray for God Almighty to give the family the fortitude to bear the loss, and also give us the strength to move on. It was a devastating one. Chief Ukpai is a political colossus. Don't mind me that I'm using the present term, is because it is difficult to see him as late. A political colossus, a unifying leader in my local government, a man that I've come to admire for his focus. If there is an assignment given to Chief Ukpai, everybody will go to sleep because we know he will deliver. Just like we know within our constituency that he's the one who carries the can for every other person. And most importantly, Chief Ukpai loved peace. Very peaceful man. He's one of those politicians that you will see mingling freely with even those in the opposition. He has a way of turning the most serious situation into a fun situation. And only God knows why he has to join angels at this time. Otherwise, we would have asked him to still remain with men on earth. But to God be the glory. Our condolences to the family, the wife. I was there yesterday with the Secretary to State Government and the Head of Service. And we are confident that God Almighty will give them the strength and the enablement to move on and fill the vacuum that is now existing in that family.
All right. May his soul rest in peace. Now, let's talk about the topic of discussion for today, the Aba North and South Federal Constituency election that took place over the weekend. It has come and gone, and we have lessons to learn. How will you rate the conduct of the election? Over 100, Honorable Commissioner.
Yeah, before rating the conduct of the election, you will permit me to thank God Almighty for guaranteeing us a peaceful and very safe election. I am happy to report that not even a single soul was lost during and after the election. You know, in the book of Numbers, they told Moses, we have counted and none is missing from amongst our soldiers. I am happy that no single person is missing from amongst Abians, and it is more important than any other outcome. And for that, I want to appreciate all the contestants, all the political parties that engaged. It reaffirms my belief that outside politics, we all realize that we are one people in Abia State. Regardless of our partisan orientation, we are one people in Abia State. I always say to people, if we go into political contest and you want to be violent about it, who are you going to fight? Are you going to fight your own brother or your own sister? Because we have families, many families where you have in one family, members of APC, APG, PDP, in one family in this state, and I can name them. So who are you going to fight? And I'm happy that our leaders restrained the people as much as possible. And it's also is a testament to the peaceful disposition of the governor of Abia State, Dr. Victor Ikpeazu. There are things that people have not noticed. Under this man's watch, not even one single bank robbery in the state for 6 years. Under this man's watch, the governor of Abia State, this state is rated as the most peaceful state in Nigeria. On the watch of Dr. Victor Ikpeazu, this state has continued to be rated among the safest states in Nigeria. It speaks to something. It speaks to a man at peace with himself and at peace with his people. It speaks to the hand of God upon the life of the governor and the people of Abia State. Because look, when God wants to bless a people, he starts through their leaders. And we have a very good leader, and we are grateful that we didn't lose anybody. And we are prayerful that in future elections, none shall be missing in our midst. Regarding the election proper, I want to differ a little from Professor Ilo. I want to say that one of the reasons we saw the numbers that came out was simply because of the failure of card readers. I was in the field that day. Let me say this. A lot of votes were rejected because of card reading. A lot of votes. There were no incident forms available, which should have been available. INEC need to look into that. In 2 or 3 polling units, the card reader failed, and the INEC officials went home to go and replace, and they never came back. Now, that will normally lead to apathy. If you look at the difference between actual number of votes and voters that were at the polling unit and the actual approved, in quotes, or recorded votes, you will see a massive difference. So, part of the apathy is contributed by some inefficiencies within the card reading system, and they need to look at that seriously. I agree with him, Professor Lo, that the election came too soon. I mean, late Honorable Prestige is yet to be buried, but that didn't contribute significantly to the apathy. The truth is that, everyone in Aba knew there was going to be an election or something. Unless you didn't lose in that time, or you are a visitor to that, everyone knew that was going to be an election. Because the party took the election very serious. The governor led the PDP campaign. Former Governor Audrey Zakari led the APC campaign. The party structure in APG, they were all there. My friend and brother, Engineer Okobo, the Reverend Himra, and the rest of them. I'm sure the same thing applies to the AA candidate. So it wasn't as if there was no education on the coming election, but rather there were variables like people coming to the polling unit to vote, and then no card reading, and then even where they voted without card, the results were discarded.
So you're blaming the large voter apathy recorded on the inefficiency, largely on the inefficiency of INEC.
I am blaming it on the failure associated or attached to card reading.
Okay.
On the whole, I will score INEC very high. Maybe not 80%, I'll score them very high. But INEC must learn from this election and realize that if in future election you are going to insist on card reading, then you must make the card readers functional. They must function optimally. Nobody should come to the polling unit and not be able to vote. It is illegal.
The belief of Aba people that economic power is maybe more powerful than political power, just like Direk mentioned on the program this morning. I don't know, maybe it also affected the turnout of the voters during that election day.
Let me say this. When there is a struggle between hunger and politics, hunger will always win nationally. You see, if people have the opportunity to make extra money, even on Sunday, those people will open their market. But it wasn't really the issue.
There was a restriction placed by the government.
As much as there was restriction, you probably don't understand that. But even with your restriction, they will open shop in front of their buildings. But that's not the issue. You also need to understand that very well. Most of those registered to vote in Aba hardly vote in Aba. It is historical that apathy will always be recorded in Aba, no matter the election.
Not to this extent.
Well, I have just told you why you have it to this extent. The failure of card reading led to the cancellation of many votes that should otherwise have been valid. You can quote me on that. Because what INEC did was to make sure that only properly read votes counted. While on the surface of it, it is okay. But you can see on the other side, it is giving a picture of apathy that is very high. I don't know if you understand me. On the surface of it, everyone will want to see us, okay, let us do this thing with card reading. No problem, but it means that you must prepare your system in such a manner that anyone who presents his card, the card will be read. Where you have issues with a card reader, it should be replaced within 30 minutes maximum. But on the whole, we thank God. If you look at the overall result, it reflects the will of the people of Aba, and that is what is important. The People's Democratic Party of Dr. Okezi Ikpeazu overwhelmingly came first.
I'm going to take you on politics proper later on the program. I know there are some issues, and in fact, some issues you were joined with as a political party, PDP, and of course, as state government, and even as the Commissioner for Information. I'm going to ask you questions on that later on this morning. But, Honorable Commissioner, let's take a look at some of those skirmishes of violence recorded, especially the explosion reported at Umola Hall, Ward 8, at Obo Hill in Aba. I don't know what the preliminary findings of the state government and what did you discover. Can you let us into that also?
I believe you had the police public relation officer here before I came. Is the right person to speak to that? Is the right person because you see, in many locations, the election was reasonably tense. And I was joking with a friend, and I said to that friend that, look, if you throw a banger, knockout, near any polling unit, people will scamper. It is left for police to determine whether what the sound we heard at Omola, and I need to point this out, it was at a particular polling unit. The sound we heard there, whether it was an explosive device, a banger, or an inert device. The good news is that nobody died from whatever happened. It is now left for the bomb unit of the police to bring out a report. Every other thing is speculation. You don't want to speculate when it concerns security. You want to be sure, even as a state government. And we have no report on our table as at today from the police authorities speaking to the explosion or the sound heard there being that of an explosive device meant to harm people. We have not received any such report. We will wait for them. I was hoping that you would have asked, the police public relation officer this particular question because he's in the right position to speak to that.
That will be put across to him. But I would like to take you on politics proper. The issue of some of the projects used during the campaign period, although campaigns are over, but there are some issues that should be straightened, and I would like you to straighten them this morning. But just quickly, we need to take a civil society activist, Pastor Innocent Nwakocha, who also monitored the election. Hello, good morning to you, Pastor. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, my brother, and good morning to all.
You're live on Flow 94.9 FM, the Flow of God's own state, and we're doing the review of the Aba North and South Federal Constituency, the election that took place over the weekend. Can you let us in what you noticed briefly, just before I go on with some of the questions I have for you this morning?
Well, for me, what I noticed is there was a very low voter turnout. That was really very, very, very low if you look at it from the right perspective, because it's a situation where from what is really tenable for Aba North, we have about 240, 8,178, voters. And for Aba South, we have 250,212 voters, making it a total of 498,390 voters that were expected to vote on that day. And from what is really obtainable, if you look at the total number of persons that were primarily accredited for that particular election, the number is really to a very large extent very minimal. And how do I mean? A situation whereby we have only 16,335 that were accredited to vote for that particular election, and considering the total number of voters who actually voted for that election, we stood at 16,017. Then I tell you the truth of the matter is that it was quite a low turnout. And from my analysis,
Okay.
I discovered it's less than 3.3% that actually voted. So, which is a very 3.3%.
What are the factors you think caused that low turnout?
Well, for me, I think one of the major factors is, the people probably must have lost confidence in the system and all that. That is just one major factor. It's a general thing, So, and because we are on the field, we feel the pulse of the masses. We feel these are people we interact on a daily basis based on the scope of our work. We feel their confidence needs to be kind of thrown up. They need to it is to be strengthened, based on a lot of factors. A lot of factors has got to play in. I mean, what I mean in this case is leadership.
Okay.
The government, should try as much to work on a consistent basis. That's the only way to actually build the confidence.
Beyond that, let's look at the technicalities here. Looking at the conduct of the election by INEC, the use of the card readers and the likes. What did you notice? Were they very functional on that day of the election?
Well, from my observation, the card reader may not really be the major issue, because I know in most of the places where I visited, as people come in, they're assessed and immediately accredited to vote and all that. So it wasn't much of I didn't notice much of that, card reader, should I call it wahala or issue. But the major point is that the question is, how were the people really coming out in their numbers? That's just another issue. It's really whereby one person will come and and all that. It will take quite some time before some other person come in and all that. I mean, where would that, should I call it, breaking? Where would that be? So that's just one major fact. The point is that the number of persons that actually turned out for this election was completely very, very low. That's just.
Okay, what are the gains from this election, and how can it help in subsequent elections, especially in Abia State?
Well, the gain on this election is that it has also opened up. It's creating quite a lot of openings, for good dividend of democracy to remain a top burner. That's just one major factor. And another thing is that probably for maybe for those who felt maybe their vote wouldn't count, that is probably one of the reasons. And I think there is need to, on both sides, on all facets, on both from the INEC, both from the government, both from the civil society, to have a lot of work to do, particularly on sensitization, to should I call it, would I use the word radicalization of how people's mind, to believe that really something can really happen. Government can actually, do or walk the talk as the case remains as it should. So that's just one major factor. And another thing is this, on the part of INEC, INEC will have to also improve on particularly issue of timing, because although in this particular election, because I followed it all through, I followed it really, really all through. We worked consistently with the INEC rec in the state. It was really a very good one. Talking about the stakeholders meetings that were held,
okay,
where a lot of sensitization were carried out. That's a plus. I have to tell you the truth. That's a plus. But what I'm saying in essence is that going forward, there are a lot of factors, also areas to also improve on, particularly in area of timing,
All right.
arrival at the election venue. That must also be, because these are part of the ways of also growing confidence.
All right, Pastor Innocent Nwakocha, I want to really appreciate you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the outcome of that election, Aba North and South Federal Constituency election. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother.
You're welcome. All right, let me return to the Honorable Commissioner in the studio. Now let's talk politics proper. People's Democratic Party went into that election so confident, despite not winning an election for about 22 years in that particular federal constituency. Where that confidence came from is shocking, and it has always been opposition clinching to power after elections in that particular federal constituency.
Well, the confidence came from the work we've done in Aba and across the state. If you notice, we campaigned on our performance only. And of course, on our legislative agenda, which is to stop Ruga and to ensure that there is no open grazing. That's our legislative agenda for PDP in Abia State. No member representing PDP at any level will vote for Ruga or for open grazing, because we want to put the safety of our people first and foremost. Regarding the election proper, it was a simple one. There is no way you can see Osusu Road, or if you are living around Osusu Road, you won't vote for PDP. It's just not possible for somebody who is living around the Zuku, Melvatin, or GK not to vote for PDP. If you are living in Obo Hill area and you are living at Omoala, Here, or Ukebu Road, you must vote for PDP. We presented our scorecard. The people saw what we've done so far, and they are happy. Look, even those living at places like Kamalo, those at Omo Atako, Omo Ocham, Immaculate Heart Avenue, Absolute Road, you can see our footprint everywhere in Aba. So we didn't need to speak much grammar.
Those roads, good you mentioned those roads. They were subject of discussion during the election, even from the opposition party. I understand that some of those road projects were said to have been constructed by the federal government through that. Those statements were made by the opposition leader in the state, Senator Orji Uzokalo. I don't know what is the position of the Abia state government to those claims that some of those roads, some of them in ongoing construction works ongoing in Aba, are being financed by the federal government.
You see, some persons are still living in 1999 mode, where you don't have capacity to verify. Only 3 persons had mobile phone in the whole of Abia State, so whatever lie they tell is not verifiable. We are in 2021. If you make claims, you have to be able to buttress such claims. For instance, if you say that it is NDDC that is doing Osusu, all you need to do is to flash the NDDC contract. Now, the contractor for Osusu has sued the individual you are talking about. The contractor that the state government paid for Osusu Road sued the individual. Melvatin, if you say it's NDDC that is doing it, you are suggesting to somebody like me that you may have taken money from NDDC and pocketed, whereas it is the state government that did that project. And I'm not going to be surprised with such thing happening in Abia State. When we were verifying NDDC project, we saw that some persons took money in Umuohia for road projects done by Governor Ikpeazu. Some persons took money. See, that level of popular hoodwinking and mischievous politicking, that era is gone. We are in 2021. The only surprise I had was that, the immediate past commissioner for finance was on radio in Aba, and I expected him to speak to the fact that he was the one that paid the contractors for those road projects. Of course, he avoided that issue. But I know that if you place him here now that the election is over, he will tell you that you should forget those things, that it's just politics. There are claims we should not make, even with politics. See, if someone makes a false claim against our former governor, I'll correct the person right here. I will not sit down here and have you make a false claim against him because of politics. No, we don't do that. If I find something good in someone working in the opposition, I will say so. without fear or favor. Of course, it is a well-known fact that I like the way Ben Carlo is carrying out his job. And I say so. I keep telling people that I like the fact that Uche Oga invested in Uturu. I'm not afraid to say it. Because we must
I was going to ask
we
you.
must take politics beyond the 1999 level. See, we are a new generation. This, our generation, must redefine politics to work for the people of Abia State only. And not all those noise making, all those win at all cost tendency, all those lie. I am sure that my former governor knew he was lying when he was telling the lie. He told you that time, by next week, I will bring the papers, knowing very well, fully well, that the election would have ended by then. This is next week. And some persons are asking him, bring the papers. I can easily tell you that he won't bring any paper. But in his mind, it's all about politics. Those are the things we did during campaigning. But for somebody who occupied the high office of governor of Abia State, there are certain level of politicking you don't expect from him. And I hope he would have taken correction. I know that people make mistakes. I've forgiven him for that mistake of claiming Ikpeazu projects. But Mike, there is something you need to know. As at 2017, nobody was claiming Ikpeazu projects. By 2021, people are claiming Ikpeazu projects simply because those projects are now overwhelming. Kinetic Abia has transformed Aba and many parts of Abia State. So when those people who were not here when we were doing all these things, when they come back and see the sheer number of what we've done, they tend to believe that only the federal government has capacity to do this kind of thing. But the law is very clear. Federal government will not construct urban roads for you.
Okay.
They will not.
Let's talk about some of those issues raised during that election, which in our analysis here, we spoke about how the leaders of the different political parties went as far as going beyond issue-based campaigns and to go about attacking each other. It might not be directly from some of these stakeholders, but from some of the aides and some of the followers. And in our analysis, we were thinking maybe it affected the turnout of the people because it also created a very tensed environment. I don't know, what is your disposition to these, the campaign of calumny against each other during electioneering period, especially in Abia State?
Let me tell you something. Followers mirror the leader. Dr. Ikpeazu is a peaceful person. He does not engage in a corner. You will notice that no follower of Governor Ikpeazu will engage in that. If others are mirroring their leader who engages in a corner in needless lies and propaganda, I have nothing to say to them. Whoever you follow, you will look like. If you follow Jesus, you will behave like Jesus. The apostles were called Christians in Antioch simply because of their character. I am a follower of Ikpeazu brand of politics. I will not come here and defame anybody. I won't do it. You can't pay me to lie against anybody. I won't do it. You can't pay me to insult anybody. I won't do it. Because the governor himself will not even be happy getting that from me. Now, if you follow a man who believes that anything and everything goes, and you are acting out that script, my appeal to you is it is time to change that level of political mentality. Let us begin to do what is right for the people of Abia State. Let us begin to focus on the people that matter. See, political platform will come and go, but the people of Abia State will never go. They will always be here. Let us work towards their welfare only. PDP won Aba election simply because the governor and the government focused on what is important to the people, which is to work to improve infrastructure in Aba. If we were not working hard to improve infrastructure, we would have lost that election. All we were saying throughout the election was, come and see what we have done and vote for us. If you notice, the governor never engaged in any organized campaign. It was in the course of his kinetic Abia tours that he addressed some of those issues regarding the election.
Some persons called it a strategy. It is still a way to campaign anyway.
It is a perfect strategy if it's a strategy. There is no better strategy than showing the people what you have done for them and asking for their support on the basis of what you have done. It is a perfect strategy that should be adopted by every politician. Don't go and do yawo yawo to the people. I will do this. Show them what you have done. If you have done some work somewhere, stand on the project you are doing or you have done and campaign. It works for the people. See, the people are tired of promises. They want to see. If the people of Aba didn't see what Dr. Ikpeazu was doing in Aba, they would have voted against PDP. You can mark my word.
I wrote a piece I read a piece you wrote on the internet as in your person, not as the commissioner, but as Chief John Kalu, and you spoke about Ben Kalu, the Bend Federal Constituency rep at the House of Representatives, where you said you like the things he's doing and, of course, the way he's putting Abia forward. And you said something that about him maybe joining PDP, and I don't know what would be your reaction, because I put the question forward to him also yesterday. He said you're also invited to APC.
You see, Abia need progressive politicians. Progressive in the sense that these are people that put the people first. These are people that are not going to rubbish themselves because of whoever they are serving. These are people that will not engage in needless sycophancy. These are people that will stand up when the people need them. These are legislators that if there is a problem at home, they will take the first flight home. I think Ben Carlo has carried himself well. And such character that he's exhibiting can only be found among the PDP flock. All I did was to invite him to join people of like mind. I Ben Carlo in the midst of the political hawks I see in the other party seems to me to be an anomaly. See, whether you are PDP, APC, PGA or any party, the fact is that Ben has carried himself well. And I'm proud of the fact that he comes from a constituency that produced the best female legislator ever. Nenu KJ remains one of the most exceptional legislators ever in Abia State. And she's from Bende. She represented Bende Federal Constituency. It is important to highlight those who are doing well, whether they are in your party or not. Of course, there are so many PDP legislators that are doing well.
Okay.
I like the fact that Abonta has, in fact, he's the most productive among Abia legislators. He has more bills than any other person. He's a PDP member.
Okay, just before I throw the lines up, Honorable Commissioner, I don't know what would be your reaction against the protest, maybe against or for the protest in Aba. It was yesterday or the day before. I cannot remember the exact date now. Against the person of the former governor of the state, Senator Roger Okado, still on the heels of the election, and it didn't go down well in the folks of the opposition party in the state, the All Progressives Congress. I'd say, why are you saying some things against the person of a former governor of the state? You're selling Abia State in not so well, on a negative note for the people outside.
Michael, please, allow me to interrupt you. Nobody said anything against him. I copiously watched the video. They asked him to produce evidence that the federal government awarded the roads that he promised to. What is wrong with that? We are in the modern era. You can't go on air and make frivolous claims that you cannot defend. They are calling him out as we should. Everyone should call out politicians. If I, John Kalu, sit down here and lie, the people of Abia State should call me out, election or no election. What they did in Aba was to say to him, former governor, you said Osusu Road was done by the federal government and that you will produce the contract paper in 1 week's time. 1 week time is now. Show us the contract paper. How is that abusive? Come on. Okay. I will not be part of any abuse against our former governor. We want to respect him. The office of governor is a huge office. But we also expect that the former governor should carry himself well. Because you have occupied that position, there are certain things you cannot say or do. But any party, anybody that wants to abuse George Okalo, count me out. Count the government of Dr. Kojo out. But if you are calling him out on the basis of what he said or did, please be my guest. Do it more often. Because these people went to the National Assembly because we stood in the sun and in the rain to vote for them. They cannot come and make
Let's finalize the conversation on this with this particular question. The issue of roads, federal roads, state roads. Were there roads done by the Abia State government during the administration of Dr. Okeze for the federal government that are
No, listen. See, Abowore Road that the show was federal road. We did it. We have not asked for any reform. Port Harcourt Road where we are working, Admission is a federal road. We are working there and we have not asked for any reform from the federal government. Abai Ikote we waited for the federal government for 6 years. Minister Fashola came here, promised us, we begged. Honorable Chobani went to Abuja to meet with Fashola so that they can reconstruct Abai Ikote highway for us so that we can link up with our brothers in Akebo. They didn't do nothing. And in January, the state government moved in. We are reconstructing that now. We are not even interested in any reform. You see, it is mischievous for you to now say that those roads you have done. For Christ's sake, the contractor for officer is called a plane. A plane was initially paid by Obin Oriato as commissioner for finance. The contractor for Kamanu was paid by Obin Oriato, who is now a member of APC. I'm now calling them so that you can verify. The contractor for Mayvati was initially paid by Obin Oriato, who is now a member of APC, as commissioner for finance. The contractor for Umuye was paid by Obin Oriato. The contractor for Foxwood was paid by Obin Oriato. So what exactly are we talking about? These things are not wrong.
We need to throw the line to right now. Let's get reactions. Of course, it is still the review of the Aba North and South Federal Constituency election that took place over the weekend. And of course, we've been doing a lot concerning the analysis of that. But let's hear from you. The conversation is not complete without getting your reactions. 0808-182-6949 or 0811-605-2949. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Honorable Commissioner, good morning, sir.
Good morning. You're welcome.
My name is David. I'm calling from Omar.
All right.
Michael, as regards to that election, I have to be frank with you. For one single day, I wasn't afraid. Remember on Friday before the election, I told you, even if the Buni-led caretaker committee, even if they should bring him down to Abia State, it has nothing to do with the electorate. Indeed, power belongs to the people. It lies on the people to choose who they will vote for. It's very unfortunate that a very whole lot of them in APC came down to Aba just because of that particular election. While they are campaigning against what Governor Kezi Bazo have done in Abia State, Governor Bazo was using his kinetic project to campaign. Now, no right-sense person in Abia State who want to identify with APC, looking at what is happening today in Ebonyi State. My brother, we should understand that APC do not mean well for the Southeasterners. The earlier we understand this, the better for us.
All right.
Thank you and God bless
Get more reactions. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Joseph Ejinda. I'm calling from Alaye, Amaka precisely. Honestly, concerning to Aba North, Aba South, the Federal Constituency election, even if somebody who is not a politician will tell you that election went free and fair. Because APC, they did a wrong calculation. They made a very big mistake. And coupled with the one that Governor Kezi Bazon has been doing in Aba, and they know that Governor Kezi Bazon has tried and done a very nice job in Aba. They're supposed to make a good calculation so that they will win PDP if I thought they actually wanted to do so. Now, how can you impose somebody from Bende in Aba, and you are claiming that you want to reclaim Abia State to become a BC state, whereas we have APC leaders, APC stakeholders in that Aba South, Aba North, that you're supposed to allow them, for them to contest between the Ungwaman and the Ungwaman from PDP and APC. What do you want the APC members in Aba to do? What they have to do is to protect their own place and vote in the PDP member. That's the simple mathematics. So the APC members. And another thing is that
all right, quickly wrap up.
The policy of APC in the country have also this Ruga and the planning government that they failed to address, which Governor Kezi doesn't have said. If you don't have land.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Let's get more reactions. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, please.
Good morning.
I'm Nezrin speaking from Isiama Fara.
All right.
Please, I want to appreciate what the Honorable Commissioner is saying. At least for the example he set up with Jesus and his disciples, make us understand that the era of such kind of politicking when somebody is doing something good, the other party will be castigating it. That era is gone. We should grow at this stage such that when politics come, we play politics. And whoever emerge, we should encourage each other. I want to appreciate the commissioner for not using such vague words against his opponent. Please, go on with what you're saying. Then concerning the election,
quickly wrap up yourself.
yes, the election has come and gone, and PDP won. Nobody has monopoly of going to the National Assembly. It is Aba is not Aba or Nigeria or wherever. It's not meant for a particular family. So the issue of either saying visitors or not is inconsequential.
All right.
The election was free and it has come and gone. I thank God life was not involved, most importantly, considering what is happening in the country today. Thank you.
All right.
Go on.
Thank you for your contribution. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike Oni.
You're welcome.
My name is Honorable Maduka Okoro, the media heir to the distinguished senator representing the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You're welcome,
First of
Honorable.
all, to Chief Oki. Oki has called Oji Uzokalo a liar. That is a hate speech. Oji Uzokalo, when he became a governor of Abia State, he did well. So much well that the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, then Olusegun Obasanjo, tagged him action governor. Today, Oji Uzokalo, what crime has he committed? In Abreba, where Oki is from, who has taught the lives of Abreba people? Is he not Oji Uzokalo? Has Okezie Ikpaso, the governor of the state, taught the life of Abreba? He enjoys driving to Abreba. It is because of Oji Uzokalo. How can Oki sit there and say that Oji Uzokalo, that he never lied against Oji Uzokalo, that he never accused Oji Uzokalo, he never disrespected Oji Uzokalo, but he was talking about Mama Karasi, him there, sitting there. Oki was at Olivant working. He never was a part of this government of Oji Uzokalo. He just joined OKZ, but he's going to follow them to become a psycho fan. All I'm saying,
all right,
this
that's
politics of Abba and Abba South was not about Oji Uzokalo and the man called the man from PDP. It was about roads. It was about touching the lives of the people. He has not paid salary. Has Oki paid teachers? Has Oki paid civil servants in Abia State? And he's sitting there and telling Abia State, we are talking about Okeze is a good man. Okeze does not fight.
Quickly
He
wrap
knows
up, so
him
let's
himself
get
is
his
economical with
reaction.
the truth. I challenge Oki to a debate. I, Maduka Okoro, challenge Oki to a debate and watch what will happen to Abia.
Thank you very much,
Abia will know the
Honorable
truth.
Maduka
Thank you,
Okoro.
Mike Oni.
I'm sure you want to respond to that just before we wrap up the program this morning.
Maduka, my brother, I will not debate with you because there are media heirs working with me that will debate with you. Bring Oji Uzokalo, I will debate with him. Now, having said that, let me address a pungent issue that you raised. Number one, if Oji Uzokalo claimed to have done Osusuro through NDDC and it is a lie, who is he? He's a liar.
Okay.
Hold on. When somebody speaks falsehood, what do we say in this claim about that person? Number two, if you, Maduka Okoro, you are claiming that Ikpaso has not done anything for Abriba people, let me avert your mind to the fact that as at 2016, Ikpaso had done Ugwezi Road for Abriba people. You probably don't know Ugwezi Road. And he has done so many other things, including markets and so on. In fact, he is still working in Abriba. But that's not the issue. It is a matter of civilized conduct. That's what we are talking about. I need you to advise your principal that as a former governor, and I agree he was a governor in this state, he should tone down his rhetoric. I don't know whether you listened to him or not on Thursday night. You know, there are certain things that a former governor should not say. And my appeal to you and the rest of you managing him is to help him. Help him by telling him that he was wrong in going to Aba to claim Ikpaso's project. That nobody should do that to a sitting governor.
All right, we need
he
to wrap
was
up
wrong.
the program,
He was wrong. Hold on. To use the language he used in campaigning, which is what you are also using. You know, if I allow you, you will abuse me. But unfortunately, I'm immune to abuse and I don't engage in a corner.
All right.
So as per your debate request, please bring former Governor Oji Uzokalo. John Okikalo will debate with him any day, anywhere, anytime.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, for being part of the program this morning. We do appreciate you. And also many thanks to our guest, Dr. Joseph Ilo, Resident Electoral Commissioner, Abia State, Pastor Innocent Nwakocha, civil society activist, for their analysis on the review of the Aba North and South Federal Constituency election. Join us later on this evening on the State of the Nation Journalist Rendezvous on Flow 94.9 FM. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Many thanks to the producer, Samson Eze, and also the associate producer, Yai Jimmy, and also the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook and YouTube page, Solomon and Stanley. Do enjoy the rest of your day.